Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel, KLun Divine Inspirations. If you haven't done so, please take this time now to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just doing a quick cooking video today with Cooking with KLun Divine, and today we're going to be making some collard greens, and just gonna do a quick video on that, and we may even do some green fried tomatoes. I haven't really decided on that, but let's get cooking. Okay, we have our fresh bunch of collard greens here. And we're gonna cut them up. I normally get those in the bags, but I got these from a farmer's market that was going on, so that's how I ended up with the fresh collard greens. But I normally get the fresh ones that are already cut in the bags, preferably Morel Farm collard greens. Okay, so we're going to cut them up, and then we are going to season them with some ham meat. It's been in the freezer, some ham that I cooked. I saved it. I saved the fat off of the hams. I used those to cook my greens and peas and stuff like that. So stop storing your leftover ham meat away and the fat off the ham. You can use those to season your food with. Then you guys know how I'm always talking about food prepping. If you're buying like your onions and bell peppers, stop throwing those away. Rinse them good. Peel your onion, rinse it, chop it up, and start putting them in the freezer, because we know sometimes if you're not a real onion lover, where you just constantly eat onions and pretty much everything, then your onions will go bad even in the refrigerator. They can start growing. You know how the leaves start growing up out of the onions and that root in the center of your onion. So start chopping them up and putting them in the freezer. And just give you an example of that, I had some bell peppers that I bought to cook something, and I had some left over, so I just chopped them up, put them in the freezer, and when I want them, I just take them out and use what I want. And they're just like fresh bell peppers. You know, you don't have to let them sit out and throw out. You can just put them in the pan and pot, cook as is. They've already been rinsed and cut up and frozen. So we're going to put some of those in our collard greens. Okay, and you can also purchase the bag of seasoning blend and use that as well. And for those of you who don't know, you can find it in pretty much any local grocery store. The seasoning blend is a combination of chopped onions, bell peppers, and celery. The white onions, green and red bell peppers, and celery. So you can use that. And so this is some of the ham meat. Since I already cooked leftover ham meat, the fat out the ham, the skin out the ham, some of the actual ham meat. You can just take it out the Ziploc bag and put it in the pan. You don't have to rinse it. But I did rinse this to get some of, you know, how stuff sit in the freezer, and you may start getting a little ice on it. So you can rinse it if you want to. You don't have to. So that's our ham meat, and you can break it up now or wait till it cooks some and break it up. And you can put as much of that as you want in there. Okay, but it does good for seasoning your greens and stuff. Just a few more pieces in there. Then we're going to add some water to that and let that go ahead and start simmering while we're cutting up our greens. And we're just going to add some water to this, and again let it cook on a medium heat. It's up to you. You can set the pot in the sink like I did, or you can use a measuring cup, whatever you prefer, but you're not filling up the entire pot. Just want to make sure you have enough in there. Okay, and then we're just going to let this simmer on top of the stove. Okay, to our pot we're going to add some fresh chopped onions. You can just slice it and put the whole onion slices in there, or you can chop it or dice it however you prefer. Then there are some people who don't like to eat the actual onions, but they like the flavor of the onion. So in that case, you would just take a whole onion or even a half onion and just put the whole thing in there, preferably the whole onion. You would just drop the whole onion in there to give it the onion flavor. That way it's not falling apart and you have different chopped pieces in there. So you still have the flavor of the onion, but you're not actually going to eat the onion, because once it cooks in there and you let it simmer, you can take the whole onion out. Okay, so we're going to put the chopped pieces in here now. Okay, onions are in the pot, bell peppers, our ham meat, our water, and we've already set the temperature on the stove. It's a little above medium. Okay, set it according to your stove heating elements or variations. Alright, we're going to add some seasoning to this. We're going to add some garlic and pepper seasoning. Not a whole lot, because you're also adding regular black pepper. Okay, and add pepper according to taste, how hot you want it or the heat you want it to, or you can add actual jalapeno peppers, which is great cooked in collard greens. Right here we're adding our minced garlic. Okay, so we have the garlic and pepper seasoning plus the minced garlic, and we're going to add onion powder for our salt substitute. I try to stay away from regular table salt. So I'm going to put a generous amount of onion powder in there. And I'm going to add a little paprika. That's paprika. Most folks say paprika doesn't have a taste to it or flavor, but if you ever start cooking with it, you will notice a little different in your food. Okay, and we're going to use some Cajun spice seasoning, which has a combination of spices and seasonings in it. Okay, and it does have a little salt in it, some paprika, black pepper, cayenne pepper, oregano, garlic, onion, thyme, and some silicone dioxide. So it has a combination of spices and seasoning. So I'm going to add a little of the Cajun spice seasoning, but not a whole lot, because it does have salt in it, and I'm trying to eliminate salt from my diet for health reasons. Okay. Alright, and we're just going to give that a good stir and let it simmer and cook. Okay, make it quick and easy. Just cut the bottom portion of the collard greens off, because normally the leaves are not down there, so make it quick and easy as possible. Cut that off. For our other leaves, you're just gonna pick through them, look, because they are fresh out of the garden. These have had a rinse. The farmer did take time to rinse them off before taking them to the farmer's market. So they have been rinsed some, but of course I am going to rinse some, clean them up thoroughly. But you just want to go through them, look for spots on your green. Also look for the little critters, worms like collard greens, because they're in the garden. They like green leaves, like turnips, collards, lettuce. So check for worms, make sure none of those are on there. And then according to how you like your collard greens, if you can see a demonstration here, I already started pulling the leaves back down off of the collard green leaf. So just want to do each one of them like that, and then chop. And those are the stems from your collard greens. And this is our pile of greens that have been picked from those stems. Okay, and I have a few limbs left, so I'm going to try to show you how I do it. Okay, you take your collard green limbs, you want to do it from the back side of the collard green, because that is where your fold is, or your crease is, at the back of the collard green. Okay, the greener side will be the front. So what, you can use a knife or your hands, either way is fine, no particular way. I'm not using my stand, I'm doing this holding handheld. So what you're just going to do is go down the crease of the stem and pull the collard green away from the stem. And there you have it. That's all you're doing, pulling it away from the stem as much as you want. You can go up as far as you would like. Some people like to keep a portion of the stem. The stem is healthy for you, but try not to get the lower part of the stem that was closer to the ground. Get like middle ways and up if you're going to use the stem. There are nutrients in the stem. Okay, and I do use those sometimes. Okay, or even after you pick them, if you want to go back and cut a few pieces off of the original stem, you can do that. Either way you want to do it. And you can just break it off with your hand. And there you have it. Collard green. Right? Okay, let's talk about these greens. Okay, like I was saying in the beginning, you want to check your green for brown spots, for little holes that worms may have eaten through. You're going to check for all of that. Okay, so for this green leaf here, you can still use this, but you can break pieces off of there. Now this piece here where it's all withered and brown towards the top, I would throw that away. Now you can take the end pieces off like that and keep this little piece, but all of this right here, I would throw this away where all those spots are. Okay. And you can tear it out with your hand or use a knife. Okay, same for this leaf where you have the spots here. I would get my knife and cut that off of there, or either, like I say, you could break it away. Either way. But all of that right there, you want to take that section off of your green. Same for here. You see there's a little yellow discoloring on here. That's okay, but what you're looking for are the spots on there. So you want to cut that off there. Okay, and then let's talk about the baby leaves of the cabbages. It's what I call the baby leaves in the excuse me, not cabbage, but collard green. the baby leaves of your collard greens. This is in the center of your collard greens. Okay, these can be cooked as well. Some people throw these away, but they are perfectly fine to cook. They're just a young collard green leaf. So stop throwing your baby leaves away. Just cut them away from the stem like you do the big leaves and cook them as well. Okay, for your collard greens, what you're going to do is arrange them by size because your collard green leaves will be different sizes. So you don't have to do that, but the way I like to do mine is quickly look through the collard greens and try to arrange them by size. Like try to group all of the smaller ones together, stack them on top of each other, and then roll them. You don't have to roll them. You can just get your knife and go across them and cut them. Everybody cook collard greens different. They season them different. They arrange them different. They cut them different. They chop them different. So some people cook whole leaves, and once they finish cooking, they may get a knife and just randomly cut the leaves in big pieces. So it's totally up to you, your preference for cooking. Preferably, I like to roll mine. To me, it gives you a neater cut. So that's how I like to roll mine, like this, and then get the knife and chop them. Okay. So you're just going to take your knife and just go down the line from the beginning of the roll and just keep slicing all the way down to the end. Cornbread to eggs mixed with cilantro leaves, black pepper, Cajun spice seasoning. We're going to use 1 box of Jiffy cornbread mix. And we're going to incorporate 1/3 cup of almond vanilla milk. Mix it all up. Put it in a greased pan. I'm going to use an aluminum pan. They're my favorite. Use an aluminum pan. You can take some spray. I'm going to use some butter cooking spray. Spray my pan. You spray the sides and the inside, and we're going to pour our batter inside once we finish mixing it up. Alright, and to the oven our bread goes. Our batter goes, rather. Alright, our greens are done. Finally. Cornbread done. And you put some seasonings in it. Another variation of this, you can turn your Jiffy cornbread into crackling bread. Again, crackling bread. The younger people may not know what crackling bread is, but the older generation knows what crackling bread is. You put that good old-fashioned bacon in there, preferably the bacon with the skin on it. Some people like to use the actual fat bite meat. Whatever your preference is, you cook your bacon or your fat bite, then you chop it into pieces. You put the fatty portion in your batter, mix it up with the cornbread batter, pour it in your pan, take the remaining pieces, sprinkle it across the top, put it in the oven, and let it bake. And there you have it.